Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about hackers? Can you jam to the console cowboys and cyberspace? Ever read Neuromancer? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. In there, it's a world where you don't really say, I know what you look like. A world where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Go away, Baton!
You're in the Neon Dystopia, and this is the Low Life Podcast, and boy, oh boy, are we really in the dystopia, aren't we? This is going on. That was Dan.
Yep. How you all doing?
There's Zero.
Welcome back, shirkers, deviants, and malcontents. You're in Camp Low Life. Prepare for re-education.
It's scum.
Guys, look. I want to believe. All right.
Don't stop believing.
Never.
Oh, lordy. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the... hey, look, guys. We were trying to just do movies for the rest of the year, just to kind of decompress. It's been a year. A lot of stuff's happened behind the scenes. It's just we don't feel like burdening you with. You know what I mean? It's just we want to kind of talk about the cyberpunk stuff and help the writing out, et cetera, et cetera. You know, but Turkey Shoot was so on the fucking nose. I gotta tell you, I didn't like when I first saw it. I was like, "Ha, this is funny." And hey, we were talking about doing a bunch of like prison escape movies. This would be a fun one, and we'll tie it in with Thanksgiving. None of the things went the way we had planned for that. And my dumbass promised an episode, so you know, there you go. We did it. I hope you watched it. It's a riot. I've been thinking about it. You know, almost as much as The Substance, which we also mentioned. But
And now that we've got our fingers out of our ears and we're no longer chanting la 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 la.
yeah, we're basically the way the rest of this year is going to play out. We're going to get you one more movie, but what we were going to do was just kind of wait till next season and then just get real heavy into like, okay, we're in the dystopia. We've won. You know, like we did it. We pointed it out. We were like, here's how we got here. We know what the classics are. And basically, most of the media that we've consumed on this topic has led us to this moment.
Yeah,
it really feels like it.
It does. Yeah, that's why we're waiting until next year, because it's like, well, the thing happened, and
we want to kind of see, like, give things a little bit of time to play out so that we actually have something to talk about instead of just being like, hey, guess what dipshit said today?
Yeah, like speculative shit, because that's where we're at right now. You know?
Right. Yeah, things are weird. Things are in flux. They're moving, and it's been a while since we've done a NewsMash. So, like, we're doing a fucking NewsMash because shit's weird, guys. It's
so much happened in like a week.
We had other stories picked out, and then in like
a day, it was a day,
8 hours, like 3 major fucking things happened. And
everything happened in like a day, and we're like, well, guess we're talking about this shit now.
Yeah. Well,
should be happening at TikTok feeds lately.
There was a tsunami warning outside of Humboldt County in California today because they had a fucking 7.0 earthquake off the coast.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so but they canceled the tsunami warning. Thank God.
That would have been bad.
Like I got no beef with Humboldt County. You know? You're north enough.
Some of the best weed in the country.
Yeah, I mean they're known for it. They're like legends. You know, also for a few other weird things, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to talk about the thing that is consuming our minds and imaginations and causing us to ask ourselves all sorts of moral questions, such as, can a piece of shit responsible for tens of thousands of people being denied medical service a day a company that makes $2 billion a fucking month. Can we really feel bad? If
No.
the CEO gets fucking got
Fucking
tried.
Merch on the street in front of his hotel. Yeah.
I mean,
In front of a woman who kind of wandered away from the scene because she didn't want to spill her coffee.
I mean, that's just being a New Yorker.
Yeah.
I raised a glass to that because that's like how my thinking might have gone in a certain circumstance. I was just like, you're right.
There's only a couple ways you could react when you just see a stranger get professionally clapped in the street. And
She's great though.
Yeah, she's like, well, bye.
She's like, not my first rodeo.
My name's Paul, and this is between y'all.
So, CEO got clapped of what was it? United Healthcare. UHC. And if you have any experience with the American healthcare system, you will be laughing your ass off, like all of us have, like our nursing has been. The nurses are roasting this dead motherfucker.
Our nursing on Reddit is just it's a roast factory.
Oh my
God. If you've
God.
ever been hospitalized and got talking to the nurses like I had during my medical event, they're going to tell you, they're the first to tell you they hate the medical system.
There is a level of vitriol here that I had not seen yet, and I thought I had seen it with Drake earlier this year.
Yeah.
No,
like this is straight up like I'm looking at people who are typically like, oh hey, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, and I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't live your life like a fucking monster. But like in this instance, I'm seeing like a majority of reactions be just like, yeah. I mean,
sorry, no sorry.
I had United Healthcare like years ago, and they sucked like 20 years ago.
Oh, most health insurance company, because everything's for profit, with the exception of like I have poor person insurance through the state of New Jersey, which still isn't great. They even tried to deny my MRI. Of course, but of course they have to try at least once to fuck you over. But in case you're not American listening to this, and many of our listeners aren't, in case you didn't know, one, don't get hurt in America. Two, all of our health insurance in the United States has been privatized largely thanks to a little thing called Obamacare, which has ensured that these fuckers, like the guy who got his cheeks clapped, to be rich basically forever. It privatized healthcare. It made sure that like all the shit is lobbied. It's just enmeshed in our government.
And we need to be clear. A lot of the lie with regards to like what's called Obamacare, or like the ADA, ACA, whatever the fuck, AMA, it's. I hate when people fuck language up wrong, bad. Use words not good. They didn't get insurance. There wasn't like a single payer thing. They made it illegal for you to not have insurance.
Yes.
And then they sold it as we've given you access to insurance, which fun fact, you always had access to it.
All you had to do was
necessarily afford it.
Now you have to pay for it or else.
Or they fine you.
The biggest mercy is that if you have a pre-existing condition, which most of them are, they can't say no to you. So they can't let you die if you're already sick. It's a huge breakthrough in our system.
Yeah, but they will put you in immense debt, medical debt. And your credit is fucked. And because you need good credit to buy a house or even rent an apartment in some places, it's
to do almost anything, literally. If you want to live, okay, first of all, we need to talk about kind of the concurrence, and it might not have been at the exact same time, but they were pretty fucking close together, of the appearance of the term pre-existing condition and also credit scores. Because I'm old enough that I didn't have them. In fact, I'm old enough that there was a time when like a woman couldn't have a fucking checking account. You know
I was going to say that's like one of the long list of things in America that took an embarrassingly long time to fix.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, what do you mean? Like, women like to spend money? Like, they're idiots. These people are fucking idiots that are in charge.
Yeah.
But in this instance here, there was this double whammy going because like the only goal of any corporation or like corporation feeding a lobbyist to feed a politician is basically to fuck the consumer. It's no longer about services. We know this.
It's about making money.
Like I said, we watched The Beekeeper a couple nights ago, and you should have heard my wife just like motherfucking Amazon up and down because she didn't realize they were going to show commercials. She's like, "I pay for this. What the fuck?" And I was like, "This is shitification."
Right? Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
You're the only person on earth who actually likes The Beekeeper. Anyway,
I love that movie.
We're not going to get into it.
Tune in next week while the Low Life Podcast talks about The Beekeeper.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Interlude.
No. So this dude, like, I tried to, again, usually I'm the person who's like, I don't like when people die and I don't like guns. However,
agreed.
I looked into myself and I'm like, well, much like Musk, if you made that amount of money, it's automatic you can't be a good person. I'm sorry. Like, it's automatic evil. Like, there's no way you can make that amount of money and not like.
And if you made that amount of money, basically denying people the care that they would need to, just stay alive. Just stay alive.
I mean, on the one hand, sure. I really don't like it when anyone gets killed, but on the other hand, did you see Boondock Saints? I mean, fucking hey,
exactly, yeah.
Dude, have you? We're gonna be. Our next film is The Wild Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get intimate with murder in a way you weren't even aware of.
It could have a subtitle called "I kind of like it when a lot of people die."
Yeah, could have been. They could have called it the Battle of Bloody Shirt. It doesn't matter. Like, the thing about this that's really interesting. It's kind of there was like, first of all, it was cyberpunk as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he got away on a rented e-bike. He went away and what the fuck's it called?
Disappeared into Central Park. Like it was just so mythical. Something so mythical. They're saying that there was he went to a Starbucks and he bought 2 energy bars and he threw them away. And it's like, I don't care. That was a dude in a hoodie in the winter in New York. I don't know if that's the same guy or not.
Dad, I don't
on
care.
Camera smiling, are you trying to Running Man this dude? Or Fahrenheit 451 this guy? But the other thing about it too is the shell casings.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the Boondock Saints angle there. The shell casings had words written on them. I mean, fuck, dude.
I mean, what was it? It was deny, depose,
defend.
And defend. And that was it's a kind of a riff on this book that came out that was called something like deny. Depose wasn't the word; it was a different word they had in the title. But the gist of it was a book about basically how insurance companies, their entire goal is to exhaust you.
Yeah, that's their legal tactics of what they do.
Deny, defend, delay.
That's thank you.
Yeah, that's basically their legal tactics.
You have to first, if you want anything done, you have to ask twice, and then
minimum
maybe they'll start the process. I got lucky, right before we were fucking left Arlington. It was I had this really great doctor I'd met. I was like, man, I really like this guy. He's fucking smart. He's listening to me. We had a plan of action, and then he threw in a bonus colonoscopy because he's like, "You're that age," and I'm like, "Right on, man." And then everything happened, and I'm like, "Yeah, I need to get my asshole blown out," But the point being, this facility was really good, and they worked really well with our insurance because we had really good insurance. Now I don't have any, and it's COVID was real fun. It was fun for me to not get COVID when I had insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was way better for me to live it through it without being able to just go to a clinic without having to pay $500 fucking for a visit.
Yeah, because this is why in America, some states like New Jersey has their own insurance thing, right? To make sure that everyone has I have shit. It's shitty, but I don't have to pay for it. So it's through New Jersey Family Care Program to make sure that you have something. Some states I don't think do that. You're kind of just left to your own devices, and it leads to a lot of death because they're always going to try and say no. That's the thing. It's because they are for profit, they're gonna at least try something. Not all the time, but they're gonna try. Also, when you're reading about insurance companies denying people anesthesia during surgeries and shit, where they're well, you have to pay for the rest.
I think Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Anthem Blue.
Yeah.
Well, they were about to do it, and then today in Connecticut they were going to do it, and they I don't know, something must have happened because today they were reversing that stance.
Yeah,
weird.
You can almost hear the tires squeal as they hit the brakes on that.
They're oh, we got to look into this.
I mean, seriously, I haven't seen this many people happy about someone's death since Saddam Hussein was dangling from the end of a rope.
Kissinger was close.
Yeah, Kissinger was pretty close, but people it was like a quiet celebration. People raised a glass and pissed on a metaphorical grave. People are like you said, on our nursing. I mean, if you think that you have a dark sense of humor, go talk to a nurse.
Oh, for real.
I mean,
literally in 15 minutes of trying to figure out, what could have done this for why we turned up a bunch of the one you were saying was the one we read today in the Discord was the UHC was hacked by some cyber criminals, and
at the beginning of the year, I think.
Because of that, they were able to not pay hospitals and doctors, and because of that, they were able to buy up those practices on the cheap, which is a conflict of interest. Yeah. And that rabbit hole, I stopped following after that point.
Yeah, they paid the ransom in Bitcoin.
They didn't get the key.
They didn't get it, even the thing back, and they're like, "Well, shit." Yeah. Then they just, I don't know. They did the other fucking with not paying people.
It tied up their payment system.
And they didn't tell anyone. That was the other thing. Is like they weren't open about the fact that hey, we got.
Yeah,
because they found a way to profit off of it.
They did after compromising everyone's fucking information.
And this asshole that got fucking murked straight up was part of this because he sold $15 million in stock. He was being investigated for insider trading. They're trying to talk about how this is this might be a hit, and I'm like, well, yeah, you have 80 million suspects.
Yeah, basically.
And then scratch the surface a third time. They're embroiled in a class action lawsuit stating that they used an AI system which was known to be 92% inaccurate to basically deny old people health coverage.
Oh my God.
The algorithm went on a list and decided who was worth trying to save and not trying to save. Thanks, computer.
Yet another example of we've created a digital idiot that's wrong most of the time. Sounds fucking great. Let's apply them to medical insurance.
Computer says no.
Let me posit a theory. Something I'm working on. It's not complete. Please, at me on Blue Sky if you must. I'll choose to interact or ignore.
I'll go Blue Sky.
Depends on how high I am, I guess. There's this thing I've been thinking about. It involves, say, military rank. It involves middle management, and it especially has become actually existentially terrifying as I think about automated weapon systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems to me that you have rank to absolve you from the responsibility for the direct action.
Mm-hmm.
A president declares war, but a president is not in the trenches. He's not Thatcher showing up with the machine gun with the guards in the camp. Okay,
and we're talking about the movie, not Margaret.
Sorry, but you have this because we just talked about this shit. It's still fresh. But you have your say a leader, a president, general, dictator, whatever. Yeah. Okay, he's got a beef with the country next door. He tells his generals, okay, we got to do this stuff. Okay, so he hands off the responsibility. The general hands the responsibility off to the lower ranks down the battalion until you get to the grunt. The grunt's the guy that's going to catch the bullet, step on the mine, get caught in the razor wire, okay? Or, conversely, murder a bunch of people.
Yep.
And he's going to have to live with it, or she, okay? What could be more perfect than an AI system to take the blame? They're trying to sell us this thing like it's fucking Data from Star Trek.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's not. Yeah. It's literally just a fucking chatbot, and they're trying to be well, the AI said so because it thought this. No, it didn't think shit, dog.
The AI said we have to cap every grandparent, grandpa, every third grandpa on the back of the head because it's told us to. It's basically what they're saying, and because it's well, it told us to. So yeah, no, I think that's a valid theory you got there.
We have to listen to the bleep bloop.
Well, it feels like it's a thrust of philosophy for a certain type of power
for assholes.
Yeah,
Philosophy for assholes.
The idea is like I want to have everything without having to like do anything.
It's also cowardice. Like the idea of
Absolutely.
like it's like no, you don't. I don't. It's not. It's philosophy for assholes for people who don't believe in anything. Because people who believe in something will fucking do the thing. Like they don't want to even have the balls to be able to sign the paper that like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't even want to have like even that level of remove. They literally want to take it off their hands and their conscience completely.
Yeah, no, they want to not have to think about it and have it just happen because it's the way things are supposed to happen because they've conjured it this way.
Right.
They have this idea, and it's the same thing. It's the human flaw. It's not even necessarily a libertarian flaw. Like if I tried to put together my own perfect society, I'd forget shit. I know I would though. That's the difference between, say, me and some asshole who's trying to like dump land near Tonga. I take a look at how complex the systems are around me, and I'm like, fuck, man, it's a miracle this shit works at all. And here are these assholes who are like, I don't want to have to pay for fucking taxes. And it's like, then don't park in public or fucking call a fire department.
Drive on a road or drink clean water.
It's so
It's the reason why nations.
I mean, here's the thing. I think there's a secret there. And it's something that we don't want to fucking look at because it's us. We have these things that we look at how easily we take clean water for granted where we have it. Okay. And how easily we take for granted like a fire department. Like when we first moved in here and I blew like a big old puff ring near the fucking fire alarm and then the whole goddamn fucking ladder truck showed up at my house like a minute and a half later and I was like, what the fuck? I appreciate that stuff, right? And also like, I know some firemen and stuff, etc. I appreciate that work. I appreciate EMTs. I appreciate them. These people that put themselves into things. When I had driver's training, we had an EMT that was talking about like what he had seen in wrecks, and it's horrifying. It's war zone shit, and we take this completely for granted because hopefully you don't need them, right? But we have the sense to know that we might, and I think the diseased brain fucks are the ones who they don't take any of the stuff. Seriously.
Well, you know what's funny?
And if they had $1 million, they would take less seriously. And if they had $1 billion, then you start talking about a giant yacht.
Well, what's funny is you kind of touched on like what insurance even is in the first place, because the whole point of insurance is the idea of like, well, we have this collective thing of money to cover something that can happen to you outside of your control,
and we know it's expensive, so everybody pays into it. So there's more in the bank than we need.
Yeah,
like what the rest of the world fucking has, and but when you privatize it,
there's a profit.
That
when
makes
you put a
no sense.
Motive on it, it fucks everything up.
It makes and it's like
and
you touched on that
to the shareholder.
Yeah. So it's the idea of like, okay, so if health insurance is privatized, I don't know. Let's go back to the 19th century. Or even before. Let's privatize the fucking fire department.
Dude, I can't wait until JFK or RFK Jr. ruins everything so that I can just call myself Dr. Coin Ops. Around selling potions. I'll put like a couple like stems and some oil and be like, I'm rub this on your dick.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be Dr. Leviticus Scum. Please, I come with the finest of snake oils.
That's a good name.
Thank you. I just came up with it.
I'm just going to start calling you Leviticus.
Don't. So is there anything else we want to talk about this guy?
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, like, when this first popped off, when like it happened on the news yesterday, I'm like, following it, stuff's trickling in. First thing I thought was like, God damn, this is a real gritty reimagining of Scrooge being visited by three ghosts on Christmas. But then, like, it started tickling my brain meats, and I was like, is this something out of Ministry of the Future? We've talked about that book before. It's a fantastic book. Pick it up, read it.
So many things. Yeah, it's a good book. It's a great book.
But then it was looking at feeds today and chatting on the Discord today. I realized Cory Doctorow has a short story that is essentially this. It's a guy who, I think his wife got canceled. Her health insurance got canceled. She ended up dying, and he ends up falling in with like a radicalized group on the dark net that targets health insurance, and just kind of like a more or less kind of what everyone's imagining it just happened.
I mean, like this person's motivations could be like anything, and it's like, even if it is like a target assassination, he's just a hitman. Well, the job market's not that great.
But yeah, no.
D2 doesn't have insurance.
Oh, yeah. Well, being a hitman, that's a drawback. You don't get it's a freelance gig. You don't get like benefits or anything.
There was this movie
I've heard Hitman. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, everyone's like, oh, he's got a silencer and it's got it's fucking America. I can drive 40 minutes. My house and buy one of those.
This guy's in New York fucking city. He came from out of town. Like you can get a I love
that
20 minutes.
I love New York just because it's like how much the NYPD and like the government in New York is like trying to make it a gun-free zone, and I'm like you're in America, right? Like you can just go to New Jersey and get a gun and come back, which happens all the time.
A lot of people do.
And it's America. I guarantee everybody knows someone who knows someone else that can get them a gun with a silencer. I mean,
yep.
You ask the right uncle, you can have one issued to you.
Right.
Like that's America's crazy, dude. Vending machines. They literally have ammo vending machines now.
Uncle issued firearm. I'm sorry, like standard issue firearm.
I'm not gonna. I've told this story before, but when I was working at this machine shop in Hammond, Indiana, there was this guy that came up to me, and he was just like, you're an able-bodied male above the age of 16. You're part of the Indiana State Militia. And I was like, cool. Where do we pick up our guns? He's like, well, no. I'm like, do we meet? He's like, no. Well, and I was like, right, okay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thought experiment, pal. Let's get back to work.
Yeah. He's one of the worst managers I ever had in my life. Oh, that piece of shit. Anyway, what's next, guys? Oh, I know what's next. This is fucking great.
So fucking stupid.
This is nightmarish. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I played Pokemon Go for a while. We had a Pokestop in the smoke shop I worked at, so I was constantly like talking to people about it for a good 6 months, and then I was just like, all right, I'm done with this. That's 4 years they got out of me.
I fucking hate them.
I have friends that are playing it now to this day. Shout out to Ben.
God bless him.
Yep.
I love you, man.
Ben is the only person that gets away with it.
Yeah, he gets a pass.
The first time I talked to him was like right before I was done with school, and he was wearing a Pikachu hoodie, and I was like, that's a fucking great hoodie.
No, he pulls it off.
He's the only human being I've ever seen that could wear that thing and just look badass. And I was
legitimately, like 100%. Yeah,
well
legitimately.
done. I hope you're hearing this. So, it turns out, they had a game before this that was kind of the same thing. I can't remember what it was called, but I played it for a minute too.
Ingress, I believe.
Ingress, right. Yep. It was a neat game. I dug that. It was kind of neat. But
it's still around, I think, but no one gives a shit anymore after Pokemon came out.
Oh, yeah,
no.
Pokemon just prints fucking money. But
and the thing is like in Ingress, you had like nodes that you had to hack or something like that. And all the nodes just became Pokestops. I mean,
yeah.
It's
all it was. It was like a 1-to-1 shift over. There was no, like when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's just Ingress again. That's fine. And to be fair, that's the only Pokemon game I've ever played in my life.
Big same, yeah. I've never played the card game. I've never played a single one of the video games.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I get it. This is fun. I get it.
I played the Game Boy games because I was a child, and that was the perfect age for it. The cards and in the Game Boy games I still have and whatnot. I don't play it now. I have no interest in it whatsoever.
It got a couple months out of me just because you could see like I don't know a fucking thorn dick or whatever they're fucking called sitting on a shelf next to a bunch of bongs. It was like, this is perfect.
So it turns, I guess Thorndick's stealing your data, huh?
Yeah, big time. But this is the main article I can't read because I'm not paying $100 a year for 404 as much as I like 404. Like they have a lot of free articles. They're pretty good outlet, but they were like $100 a year. Oh shit, man,
that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
They had written an article called "Pokemon Go Players Have Unwittingly Trained AI to Navigate the World" by Emmanuel Myberg, and it was published on November 19th, 2024. And Ars Technica kind of incorporated it into their article. Niantic uses Pokemon Go player data to build AI navigation system by Benj Edwards. So, back in November, like earlier this year, actually, Niantic announced plans to create an AI model for navigating the physical world using scans collected from users of its mobile games, such as Pokemon Go, and from users of its Scaniverse app, which I didn't know about until today.
Scaniverse, nice marketing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Scaniverse.
What's it do?
It's a free app that lets you basically, it takes your camera and like the excellent kind of depth perception of like newer cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you kind of like, you know how you do like a panoramic thing where you just spin around?
Sure.
This is more like you walk in an orbit around the thing you're trying to take a picture of. And what it does is using, algorithms, etc.
LiDAR. Yeah.
It does this incredible 3D smooth rotation model like Matrix. So you could look at a bird bath and you just walk in a circle around it, keeping the bird bath in the middle. And when you're done with it, it sits there, scans it, molds it, and makes it look like a 3D image.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
All I'm thinking about is the fact that they were doing this without people's knowledge, and people have found dead bodies while playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, for sure. But this is interesting because that is from kind of like they had a blog, like a press release blog kind of thing. And I don't know when it was amended because it was posted, I think, like 5 days before this article. They have an editor's note now that says, quote, "We use player-contributed scans of public real-world locations to help build our large geospatial model." LGM for the rest of my talking.
So how did they...
This scanning feature is completely optional. People have to visit a specific publicly accessible location and click to scan. This allows Niantic to deliver new types of AR experiences for people to enjoy. Merely walking around playing our games does not train an AI model. And I'm like,
our phones listen to us.
Yeah,
I don't
like. I don't buy that a bit. No.
So it just knows when I'm just out in public and not in your bedroom. I don't know.
That's why you have to be within a certain distance from a Pokestop to interact with it.
Yes.
So they know that you're within a certain distance of that geospatial.
The fuck's a Pokestop?
Pokestop is where you go to fight your Pokemon.
It's
I
also
heard all of this. These aren't words.
And that's not even the case anymore. Pokestop is where you go to get stuff. I mean, it's a thing that sticks up out of the ground that you spin on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And it spits out things for you to use in the game.
Well, I think pretty recently they've implemented this thing called Pokemon Universe, which is allowing you to leave things at locations for other players to interact with, pick up, fight, whatever.
So it's a less interesting Death Stranding. Got it.
Yeah, kind of. But it's crazy that it's out in the world. Like if it was anything else, if it was something like if they had a gunplay version of this, that'd be Gundaming all over town.
Oh, absolutely. But this thing is just reading its fucking surroundings.
I mean, it kind of sounds like the Alexa shut down. Yes, Alexa, are you still listening? Yes.
It's kind of like I guess I shouldn't have made my safe word harder.
Yeah.
But this whole thing is just. So they had a statement. I didn't write it down on their blog post where the guy's talking about how there's just a bunch of churches, but they're all different. And what this does, I'm going to get into it in a minute. All right. So from their blog post, they said, over the past 5 years, Niantic has focused on building our visual positioning system, which uses a single image from a phone to determine its position and orientation using a 3D map built from people scanning interesting locations in our games in Scaniverse. So you have to understand they have something how many okay, so Niantic calls its creation a large geospatial model, an LGM, in an attempt to kind of draw a parallel to LLMs. Whereas LLMs process text, LGMs will process physical spaces using geolocated images collected through its apps. The model draws from over 10 million scan locations worldwide, with users capturing roughly 1 million new scans per week through Pokemon Go and Scaniverse alone. Now,
why are they collecting this though?
This is going to bleed into our next couple stories. Niantic reports that it has trained more than 50 million neural networks, each representing a specific location or viewing angle. These networks these networks encompass thousands of mapping images into digital representations of physical spaces. Together, they contain over 150 trillion parameters, adjustable values that like help the networks recognize and understand the location.
Scan the planet. Scan the planet. Scan the planet.
Pretty much.
So have you ever seen the opening of the original Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah. But again, my question is why?
Multiple networks can contribute to mapping a single location, and Niantic plans to combine its knowledge into one comprehensive model that can understand any location, even from unfamiliar angles.
Why?
Niantic suggests the technology could support AR products, robotics, and autonomous systems, with additional applications in spatial planning, logistics, and remote collaboration.
By autonomous systems, do you mean trains?
No.
Sure.
No,
shit.
no.
It's never trains.
It's never trains. It's gun dogs.
It's guns.
Gun dogs and gun copters. Yeah.
Gun dogs, gun drones. You know, it's the worst people are in charge of the technology.
Yeah.
So your Pokemon Go is like giving like telemetry data to like a Reaper drones.
And I mean, it's like even if you're like a little kid looking up, it's going to provide a different angle of, say, like the local cathedral.
Yeah.
You know, like it's going to have an incredibly detailed. And what they do is they use these things, and you can, when you upload it, when you look at your map and you click on it, it'll show your 3D image.
Mm-hmm.
So you can like post this stuff all over the place. But you got to understand they're only doing that in your like area, possibly only amongst people you interact with. But they're still loading all of that stuff into their, you know, VG whatever bullshit.
Yes, I'm like, why are you gathering all this real world scans of things? We have maps and shit, so that's not good.
No, this is different. Yeah, they're trying to build like the bullets from Runaway. You know, this is
Exactly.
God.
They want that level of granularity with their mapping. You know, they want to, because like the next difficulty, if they start using this for, say, autonomous navigation for like, drones and stuff to move around, instead of these like idiot ice boxes that get stuck in crossbox, they're going to have something that's going to be able to scale a fucking fence and deliver you your, you know, Taco Bell
or shape charge,
or shape charge,
or
right.
both.
But then the next level is dealing with
exploding tacos. Fuck.
Well, they're going to have to deal with a moving background because there's still traffic.
Yeah.
You know, they can map the shit out of these things, but if the thing just sees its target, starts walking across the street, it gets run over. You know, like they're going to have to learn that. And I don't think we're far. I just don't. These guys are fucking idiots, man.
I hate all of this. This is
like it's always. This is guaranteed. Whatever they say, this is about. It's all about the autonomous fucking.
Well, this is just like transmit cartoon. This is like cartoon shit, where it's like, okay, you're fucking Pokemon, you're cartoon creatures for children.
Dude, how do you think they're
like
going to do
mapping,
it? How do you think they're going to do it?
Your shit. Yeah, they would never get anyone to consent to do this, but they probably would if they paid enough. But they don't want to fucking pay you.
Well, they're saying that, you know, like we're not just taking it from you walking around playing the game, but it's like,
but you are though.
Yes, absolutely you are.
If you first of all, absolutely you are. Second 100%. Of all, when you like confirm location by hitting the go button to take the image, a timer starts till you do the next one, and then it determines your travel. Because like this is getting something that like the Google trucks can't get. It's getting up close and personal. It's getting the interior of like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
See, this is diabolical because they are able to get people. You're doing work for free. Yeah. Because I already knew that, like, doing landscape scans, you actually have to get like some people on the ground.
Yeah.
They could just make it a game and just have people do it for
free. Yeah, instead of Google cars, it's just and everybody's phone is doing the same goddamn thing.
Yeah. You know how everybody
Apple Watch or what the fuck ever.
You know how everybody hates like you get a task that's an actual job, but then they try to gamify it.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you win points at McDonald's, and then at the end you get a fucking hat. You know, like go fuck yourself. But if you have a really, really, really fun game, and then you can just totally like,
and
a bunch of this shit, duct tape this to the bottom.
stand on the side of how is this actually done. It's done exactly the same way as that Scaniverse app. It's just in reverse. To scan a location, you hold your phone up at the location and then basically take a 360-degree panoramic shot. You turn in a circle, and it hopefully tells you how fast to turn and how to hold your phone, how to capture the scene properly for them. And then it will upload that to their servers, and then you get a little, imaginary whatever from Pokemon Go.
It's
motherfuckers.
Now, the good news is I play this game still because my family plays this game. Sure. So we all play it. I'm not even going to be a hypocrite here. My family all plays this. Yeah. But my family and most of the people that we know play it fucking hate the scanning shit because it makes you look like a creep. I mean,
I believe that.
Near my house, there is a park, and in that park, there are 2 separate playgrounds. Now, would you go to one of those playgrounds that is a Pokestop, and I would like you to hold up your camera while the kiddies are playing and start taking a very obvious 360-degree panoramic photo.
Yeah, not the way I look. I have enough trouble in my kids' playgrounds.
I mean, yeah, so...
I don't have kids. I have no reason to be there.
Yeah.
No.
And that's the thing. But a lot of the people that I know, it's just anecdote. It's not even that good. They hate the scanning missions.
Yeah,
as soon as you get one, it's like, thankfully there's like a little trash can icon that's like, you've got a scanning mission. Scan. Nope, fuck that. Nope. Just click the trash can and I'll spin your stops. I'll catch your Pikachus, but I am not fucking like taking pictures and
I have such a workman's hatred of this just because it's like, motherfucker, you're making me do work for free.
Yeah,
well, don't gamify this.
Even if you're not working, you're doing.
Yeah,
there was tangentially there was another story that the 404 dropped either today or yesterday about how that you can expect everything that you type on and add to Blue Sky is training AI. Fuckers, everything you do is training AI at this point.
Seriously.
If it's not meant to be training AI, don't worry. Some company will fucking steal it and scrape it, and now it will be training AI.
Without any evidence or even actual suspicion,
it's okay though.
You can phone you use.
You can opt out of the training after they've already got it.
See, it fucking sucks because that ruins the internet. Because what we do, right? We publish fiction, and it's like that always has to live in the back of my mind. It's like some motherfucker is just going to like put it.
It's scraped.
Shit in there. Whether I put like a warning like, hey, don't do this or not, they're still going to fucking do it because they know that I can't find their home and punch them in the dick until they shit red.
And Anthropic got in trouble for that too, because Anthropic had posted something along the lines of, well, if you want to block our bots from scanning your site again, because we already scanned your fucking site, here's the way to do it. Here are the IPs to block. And then they like within days, they switched to totally different IPs to continue doing their scanning.
My next question would be, where do you live again?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that shit so fucking much. So that's terrifying and awkward. Fellas.
I'm not sure what you need to say about that.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I want to believe.
Me too.
I do.
What are we believing in today?
High weirdness on the East Coast, man. High weirdness.
Every fucking day, my friend. This isn't the strangest thing that's happening to New Jersey. Seeing frogmen, Jersey Devils, zombies, just weird shit is pretty average in New Jersey. We have a whole magazine, Weird New Jersey. Go read it now. It's wonderful. It's not through me. It's just a New Jersey staple. Weird shit is part of New Jersey.
I mean, the New York Eagles play there, don't they? I mean, the New York Jets. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Good, nice one.
The
UFOs.
There's a New York team that plays in New Jersey. UFOs
have been spotted buzzing New Jersey, like actual drones.
Yeah,
like they're the size of fucking cars.
Big drone.
There's videos. There's pictures.
Kind of a big drone.
There's no doubt about their existence. The FBI
You're not going down to Best Buy and picking up one of these drones either. I mean, this is
these things are bigger than you are.
Yeah, this is not a DJI Phantom. You know?
No,
this dude has like 4 fucking box fans that he's like taking the faces off of, and he just stuck into a large light frame.
If this is an artistic thing, I will laugh my ass off for the rest of my life.
I don't remember the jetpack guy in LA.
Yeah, that's a mystery. Yeah,
the Green Goblin.
What's the thing? It's like people see weird drones all the fucking time, like all over
because
Arizona.
There are weird drones all over the place all the fucking time now.
Exactly. Like it was in a. Hold on, I'm trying to remember where it was. It was a. Well, all I know too is that these fucking things also prevented a hospital helicopter from getting to somebody.
Yeah.
So there's that, but it's basically been buzzing a town in northern New Jersey, and they've been all around
town.
The same town because what's around it? It's near. They've been largely spotted near Trump's golf course and the Army Navy armory.
Oh wow!
Which I've been past a few times as well.
This is the drone version of Killdozer.
Basically, it's the Picatinny Arsenal in Jefferson Rockaway Township. It's been seen 6 miles away from it.
Watch, this is going to be some like fucking Squidbillies Mad Max thing that some guy put together.
I don't know, man.
Like video with like a VHS tape. Like,
I don't know because these things.
Kind of
I mean, that would be incredible. But they look way more sophisticated. Like you can kind of see their outline because they always only come out at night. They sound like
night.
They only come at night.
Mm-hmm. Mostly.
Mostly. No one's ever seen them land. No one knows where they go.
Are they loud as fuck?
Yes, actually, they sound like helicopters.
It's I'm gonna put $1 on homebrew.
That's fucking weird.
You know, you never know. Honestly,
could be.
I'm gonna put $1 on homebrew.
The only thing I dial back on that just a little bit though is the fact that there are multiple drones and they're flying in formation.
Yes.
If that's homebrew, that's some damn good homebrew.
They're
moving via their own pattern. There's multiples of them. People have been spotting, like you said, like weird drones basically all over UK, Arizona, possibly like this. They have very distinct 3 lights on them. Yeah.
Drones have absolutely destroyed the UFO community. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't mean it as a joke. I mean, it's like, well, I found a picture.
Absolutely, especially because when the government came out, where it's like, yeah, UFOs are real.
Yeah, you don't know what them shits
are.
Why
are you telling us now? It's COVID.
Exactly.
We're still dealing with Tiger King. What the fuck is wrong?
Absolutely.
I finished that show.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't give a fuck.
It was insane. It explains so much about our current state of affairs, though. I think.
I don't feel I missed much, though.
Yeah, neither do I. So basically, it's like. I wish. Yeah, I wish
the worst things I've ever watched in my life.
Damn it! I wish the story was more
slightly better than Lost. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I wish the story was more substantial, but honestly, we simply don't know. They've been keeping people awake. They're loud as fuck. They've been going over restricted airspace over Trump's fucking golf course, and more importantly, the fucking armory.
Yeah.
They're going over people's houses. People have heard them.
They're not even healthy.
People I know have heard them.
What do you even do? Do you call the cops? Like, what the fuck?
Yes. Yeah, people have.
Okay, what would the cops do?
They call the FBI.
That's exactly that's what they did.
National Guard eventually? Did they scramble jets? I mean,
you would think that a military aircraft of some variety would be sent up to look into this.
You'd think that they would have something as advanced as this, but they blew all their money on the F-35. Yo! I've got one in. Yeah.
Fuck that jet.
I'll put a mark on the board. Give me a sec.
Reset the clock.
It's been 61 episodes since the last mention.
God damn it.
I'm shocked we didn't have one last time, but anyway.
Yeah, it's just funny how people are talking about this because it's like, this is on like NewJersey.com. Like, this is just local news. And no one really like... Everyone's basically the authorities are saying it's like, don't panic. This isn't an issue to public safety. Blah blah blah.
Says a organization that has no idea what the fuck these are.
No, yeah, exactly. Nobody really knows how serious it is, if it even is serious. Honestly, my bet is
it's not a threat to public safety. Well, neither is an airplane until it crashes into your fucking house.
This thing is the size of a sedan.
Yeah,
so,
and if this falls out of the sky, someone getting hurt.
We don't know where they're going. We don't know where they're landing. Unfortunately, I do have my doubts that it's not aliens. I do think, because the thing is that no one's ever seen these before. They don't look like any nations, and I'm like, well, I'm sure we have plenty of shit we don't show to other nations as well. It's like, I'm sure it's probably like some foreign nation.
Dude, it's here. Look, it's going to be some fucking influencer. was like Jake Paul paid him like
Fucking Casey
$10
Neistat or something.
to build 3 drones
Yeah.
to talk to each other, and you get, isn't your brother's friend a nerd? You know, and that's how this happened.
Yeah.
We've discovered a message.
I want this to be something cooler. And
But don't let it just be
too.
a fucking Mr. Beast piece of content, please.
Yeah.
Of all.
like those fucking monolith that appeared in the desert, and everybody's like, "Whoa, how did it get here?" It's like, dude,
I mean,
I'm shocked.
honestly, if this is that, this is like unequivocally fucked up because it did delay someone like medical care from a horrible car accident. Bad enough where they had to call in a chopper to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so fuck you if that's the case. Also, fuck you regardless because you did this in general.
Mm-hmm.
But just being weird.
And that's
just
the thing.
flying
They're not
drones and
being
shit.
stealthy about it. Like the video I've seen, they're like fucking hovering.
Yes.
just like
you
hanging
can't
in
really
the sky.
see them, but you can see the outline. It's just like it looks like a giant drone. It has the wings. It's like it sounds like a helicopter.
Wait, no, you're in Jersey, so this is probably what like Mike this situation is doing.
Never utter his name in front of me again. I could have gone so many years without being reminded of that show's existence.
Reset the clock. And we'll be right back.
After these messages.
But yeah, I wish I had more to say on it, but it's like, hey, weird shit's happening as usual.
In Jersey.
In Jersey.
Yeah, and this is in our purview. You know? Like we're definitely gonna see more of this. Can we just get to Wipeout anti-gravity racing?
Sure.
We just get
and
to
the
that
thing
already?
is what we've gotten to here is we've got black helicopters on a budget.
I mean, basically, I mean, they are loud as fuck, but this is way more subtle than just like the fucking Chinese balloon that like we spent like how many millions of dollars to kill.
That was the other thing that brought to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So
consider other drone pilots in other countries in war zones at the moment and what they're making do with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ukrainian.
It's really
drone
not that
pilots,
crazy to think that you have a sedan-sized. Of course you do.
Yeah,
it's probably a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Like some guy just put like turbojets on it, and so it can only fly for a couple minutes.
And because of the political climate right now, it's. I think I agree with you that like we probably will see more of this, just because like, hey, shit's weird, really weird right now.
Yeah.
Like
keep tabs on this one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's very strange. And the fact that it isn't just New Jersey, like these things get seen all over the place because drones have kind of fucked over UFOs.
Well, hey guys, Christmas is coming. Low life, subscription goal here. Get us a low life drone.
Low life stealth drone.
Any of the 5 of us could like absolutely pilot from our like bedrooms using the Niantic reverse engineered geolocation bullshit.
Yeah.
We'll be a beta tester.
Yeah.
What was the one good thing that they said it could do? Oh yeah, a remote collaboration. Sure. Yeah.
Those are just words. That can be malevolent still.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's like the guy getting shot. It's just a thing that's just get used to this.
Yeah, it's just something that happens
to a certain degree. Like this is gonna be kind of normal. Like it sucks, and I would rather it be elsewise. But hey, fucking, what do? You have a. There's like 7 guns per person in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Which is what blows my mind. I'm surprised that no one has tried to shoot these things down yet.
Well, New Jersey has very strict gun laws. You could, if you did that, you would get probably more in trouble than the people with the gun who's piloting the drones.
Which is what makes me think it's the people who have guns also do these drones.
Probably, yeah. We don't have like open carry or anything. Well, like even though we do set like you can buy guns here, just as easily.
You can't even pump your own gas, man. People will scream at you about that.
Yeah, no, don't. If you're taking away someone's work, don't pump your own gas in New Jersey.
I'm just saying, slingshots are pretty quiet.
Yeah, don't go to Jersey. I don't know. It's pretty.
You need to go to Atlantic City like one time just to see.
No, you don't.
The stark difference from block to block. Just opulence and poverty.
Yeah,
insane.
Atlantic City is an evil, twisted place.
Such a fucked up town.
Where there's lead in the sea. Don't come here. I'm not even joking. That's not a joke.
It literally looks like Fallout DLC.
Yeah, some places it does. They actually knocked over a factory right outside my town, but they did it too quickly because greedy motherfuckers, because they didn't do it properly. Because you had to do removal. And so, like, there's all this heavy metal and lead in the soil now. And so basically they're just waiting for the next 20 or 50 years before they could construct on it. And I'm like, New Jersey.
You know, they say that like lead can like impair cognition. It can make you dumber.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't.
I mean, we have like cancer.
It doesn't work fast enough for me. Okay, like there's not enough. There's not enough. Like we had to test the pipes to see if we had lead because there's this whole thing going on.
Oh, it's old. Yeah, it's an old place.
And we're good actually. At some point, somebody swapped them out. Yeah. I was like, oh,
that's
all
good.
magnetic. Sweet.
That's good. You know, there are splotches in my town where you can't go, otherwise you'll get cancer or you'll die.
Dude, there's a town in Pennsylvania that's still on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Centralia.
Yeah, no. Except people still live here. Like a lot of people actually live here, and we just kind of like take that for granted. Where it's like, don't go to this specific place. Anyway, that's modern day UFOs. Well, I'll keep an eye on it because this is weird and dumb enough where I'm fascinated. And
modern day UAP / mystery drone.
People are freaking out like, oh, we're gonna get invaded, and my next thing out of my mouth is, well, things are so bad. I'm like, well, what are you offering?
Right.
Take me to your leader. Maybe we can talk.
Yeah. It could be aliens. It could be a foreign power. I'm like, I don't know, man. What are you offering? I don't have fucking healthcare or a job. Hit me up.
Yeah. Some vague notion of just patriotism is just like lost on me.
I don't give a fuck.
But I mean, it's not like I haven't like anywhere like I'd rather be either.
The only thing this country's given me is debt.
Death, taxes, and debt.
Yeah.
So, talking about drones, Zero, what do you got for?
Yeah, so as opposed to any like one specific story, this is just like, I guess I'm on the drone beat or whatever. This is one I've been following for a while. With just like the terrifying cyberpunk state of drone warfare and usage that exists today. There's like some specific stories that are recent that I'll reference, but mostly this is just kind of a list of milestones and recent developments towards the end. But like clicking it back, going back, my first like entering into my consciousness, the concept of drone warfare. We're talking like 2008, 2010, when the U.S. is really stepping up their drone program in Afghanistan, and it's just like this, mind-bending situation of 19-year-old kids sitting in a trailer in Nevada that are like sending Hellfire missiles into purported terrorist, meetings in Afghanistan, and that has its own whole terrifying aspect to it. Just the way the technology is being applied being applied there.
It was a weapon designed specifically to kill people who are of a lower technological advancement, who are incapable of responding.
Yeah.
So just murder.
It's just
designed for that type of warfare. Yeah, it's completely asymmetrical.
Bill Hicks gave us the option for smart fruit, and no one took it.
Yeah, I know. You could solve hunger with smart fruit.
Smart fruit.
And then I guess like the next one that kind of comes into the next milestone that kind of comes into my memory, and this is one of the points where I first realized we're truly living in the cyberpunk dystopia, and that was the in 2018. I don't know if you remember, but there was a botched assassination on Maduro in Venezuela. There was he was up talking on a stage having a speech, and this drone came up and exploded really close to him. Nobody was hurt. He didn't get killed. They still, to my knowledge, to this day, haven't determined culpability for that. There's a lot of talk that, the CIA might have done that. It might have been internal politics there in Venezuela, throw a stone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that was one of the first times I realized, holy shit, this shit's happening now, huh? Mm-hmm. And the reason is because in college, I'm talking like, back 2003, something like that. I still do play a lot of cyberpunk tabletop RPG, and that was exactly like a textbook assassination that we planned in game to get a contract filled. And I was
did you know how many crimes me and my group did for Shadowrun that are like I'm glad no one's hearing us, because like these are pretty legitimate ways to do this.
So that's 2018. Fast forward a little bit to 2020. And this isn't exactly like a drone attack. This is more of like a telepresence kind of thing, but this one flew under some people's radars. But I read it in the paper, and instantly I thought this is like the plot of The Jackal, the movie with Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. It had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, fantastic soundtrack. This is one where the IDF Israelis, I think it was Mossad and IDF combination. Anyhow, they killed a Iranian nuclear scientist who's on his way to a nuclear facility. Basically, the plot was they knew where the route was going to be because they had one of the drivers had informed on the guy. And at this specific crossroads, they had like a wrecked pickup truck, and they stuck a telepresence remote control rifle in there. And the idea was to pivot it and attack this guy, but the distance was so far that they actually needed to come up with a rudimentary AI to figure the instant changes that are needed for air pressure, for wind, for velocity, distance, and they pulled it off. They hit this guy's convoy and they killed him. They just nerked him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cowardly, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's chicken shit. It's such chicken shit bullshit.
Well, that's what it's.
That's the thing. That's what it's for.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And then the rifle itself self-destructed after the assassination. So,
of course,
what in the fucking James Bond bullshit is that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to figure it out.
You know what? It was probably that remote collaboration Niantic bullshit that allows them to aim that way.
It would not surprise me. And then, speaking, while we're on the subject of cowardly, we've already talked, I think, in a former episode about some of the AI programs and drones that are being used in Gaza by the IDF to target civilians and children. That's still going on, but a recent development on that one that we hadn't heard the last time. Now the drones will actually hide and play the sound of crying children.
Mm-hmm.
And when people come out to try and render aid to these children, they get murked by the drone.
Fuck, dude.
So that's today. That's 2024.
What the fuck?
And that's a country that is supported by the United States of America.
Oh, yeah, we're totally complicit in that genocide.
Yeah. It's probably our drones.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Same conflict, if we're going to be fair and both sides it. In the October 7th attack, which, of course, deplorable, nobody is condoning Hamas's actions on October 7th. But, from a strictly tactics standpoint, the way that they were able to make such advances was Hamas used drones to take out Israeli border defenses. They took out remote turrets. There's great footage that you can find online where a drone just lands on the ammo box of a remotely controlled 50 caliber, drops a white phosphorus grenade, and it cooks off the ammo, and the gun's useless.
Holy shit.
They also attacked remote towers with that had cameras with drone attacks. And I'm not trying to get all into that attack because there's some really amazing parts that people forget about, like the paragliders they used to get over the border. Just
I remember that.
Again, James Bond shit. But yeah, on the same kind of flavor of rebel groups kind of fighting back with asymmetrical drone combat. One of the most fascinating conflicts that's going on right now is in Myanmar, where the rebels are actually making a lot of the rebel freedom fighters are actually making a lot of progress against the junta in the capital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think 2-3 months ago they had a mass drone attack on the capital, sent 29 drones. And when I say drone attack on the capital, we're talking about airport, radio station infrastructure that is going to affect the government, not the people,
right?
As much. And that, again, without getting too much into it, too cross topic, one of the most interesting things about that conflict is just the use of 3D printing. At first, the rebels were using a lot of 3D printing to make weapons, firearms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turns out that's great, initially, but the 3D printing that they're able to do for those kind of weapon systems, they're not great for jungle fighting. It's
no, they were.
They're good for a few shots.
Well, actually, no. They were based on a German anarchist who, unfortunately, he died to the police. He designed the gun. And it's a 9mm. It's meant to be. It's a rifle.
It's the FG-C7, right?
Yes, you can use it. It's a good rifle, but it's not meant for. It's not like a combat. It's not. It only fires pistol rounds, so it's not meant to
9mm.
Be this heavy thing.
Right.
You're meant to basically it's good because you could 3D print it, but basically it's you use it to get something else. But it's considered an effective. It's actually a very effective weapon.
And there's larger rifle cartridge capable ones that you can print. I've seen a lot of them training with that, but at the same time, again, just doesn't hold up to the rigors of long-term use. But and again, one of the neatest things in this conflict is, the junta took over. What was it, 2018, 2016, from when Myanmar had been independent, it had been free elections, and this whole generation of modern kids that were all around 20 years old that are connected online didn't like what was going on, took to the jungles to meet with rebel groups that had already existed in the jungles and the mountains for years, and brought them this whole wave of new technologies.
Oh, shit.
I was reading these articles of like 3D printers being carried into the jungle, into caves where they're making these massive factories for drones and drone parts, where, again, they're bringing the fight to the government forces who, I mean, they're a modern government force, but they don't have like
they're not
modern first world weapon systems and military tactics like the rest of the world does. So they're able to attack them with these asymmetrical attacks through drone warfare, through printing up the pieces that they need. One of the most popular kind of things that they use there, again, Street finds its own uses for things. They'll order these Chinese drones that are agriculture drones meant for like crop dusting, and they'll hook up rifles on them and fly them over the government positions and just like take out dudes. They won't even be a full attack. They'll just harass them with drones for as long as they can. And the seventh is where the government should just abandon the base because they don't want to be murked every other day by a drone that flies over.
Drones are terrifying. Even Americans describing like Hamas using drones against them, they're so small. If they go to, they're so small. Like
and
you can hear them
humming, and it's supposed to be like the most terrifying thing.
And like because you could hear it, it's already too late.
Precisely.
because trying to retaliate against them, it's like they're too fucking small.
I think that kind of subconsciously, to take this kind of into something slightly more frivolous, one of the reasons why action movies really don't hit as much anymore, like you're noticing like the huge
because what can you do?
They're going to be either kind of your fantasy Star Warsy kind of stuff, or Barbie, or Wicked, or something like that, right? Those are your billion-dollar franchises and stuff. But like your typical, like the 80s and 90s was just everything from fucking Die Hard to Predator. None of these things like really fucking. And I think subconsciously they don't hold up because we know this shit's possible. That you're more like people are starting to understand how cheap drones are.
Yeah,
you can
all
buy
this shit
one at Walmart and attach a grenade to it.
All of this shit is like, I mean, 3D printers are not cheap, but like on the long term,
store-made bought shit.
Yeah.
Your local electronics shop can get you fans.
That's what they did in Ukraine when the invasion first started. Like they were like, well, let's empty. Yeah, like
going back, this has been.
I say Hamas
it doesn't need to be technologically advanced. There was an incident in Rio de Janeiro in the two rival gangs going at it, and one basically strung a grenade underneath the drone and flew it over.
I forgot
some
about
other
that one.
gang members were gathering, and to release the grenade, they just wiggled the drone back and forth until the grenade fell.
Jesus.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, I do
it's
remember
a grenade. It doesn't have to be accurate. It just needs to be close. That's where the whole thing comes from.
Like it doesn't have to be like sophisticated. It doesn't need a little robot arm to pull the pin. It's like, just wiggle it a little bit.
The whole age of the hero with like hip firing a fully automatic rifle is just
it's over.
Ain't it anymore. You know what I mean? Getting like a palm-sized drone, just
like we still have
4 fans in a block of C4.
We still have like macho. Well, yeah, that's the new real terrifying thing. But like, we still have the stupid macho like action movie shit and like operator culture and shit. That's what that is.
But the thing that we lack now is we do not have like the 80s action heroes, and of the 80s action heroes that we still have, they're still the same action heroes.
Yeah,
I mean, basically, the newest action hero is Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, Vin Diesel hasn't made a friggin', Fast and the Furious movie for some time now.
Yeah.
And
Chronicles of Riddick 2 when?
And there's an entire genre of movies, the Expendables movies, that are just basically, pointing fun at the fact that here's a bunch of 80s action heroes that are still making 80s action movies, and they're kind of comedies.
I mean, God, like I think the biggest action film I'd seen in the last few years was RRR.
Yeah.
And it's because it's ridiculous. Like it's absolutely batshit.
That's a East Indian thing, right? It's like basically, I don't want to say Bollywood because it's not of that, but it's
it's
East
the
Indians.
other bigger area. It's just this thing where your action movie just has to be batshit now.
Yeah.
and I enjoy that stuff. But like, it doesn't hit. Like, it terrifies me. The Jackal scared me when I saw it. And it's not even a particularly great film. Like, it's okay. It's watchable. It's entertaining. Yeah. Bruce Willis plays this like kind of silent hard type. Like, it just, you don't buy it because you want.
I do agree. I do agree with you because it's like the horrors of modern technology has kind of invalidated a lot of things.
I think it needs like, I know that a lot of people are writing about it. I don't see a lot of cinema. Like, there was a couple of these movies. One was like Kill Something. I saw the trailer for it. It's basically like these soldiers are on some island in some jungle or something, and they're up against humanoid soldier robots.
I remember this movie. I don't remember.
Yeah, it bounced right off of me. Like, I still haven't sat down and watched it yet.
I mean,
it's just like that's not scary to me. What's scary to me is like I read the Invincible, that the Stanislav Lem thing, where it basically it has this like kind of gray goo, situations. Gray goo scares me more than a tank rolling toward me.
I mean, the scariest thing is now that, like, because Ukrainian forces are kind of showing how modern warfare. I don't know. It's like Warhammer 40K over there because like they have every unit has like a drone operator attached to it, but like they're in trench warfare.
Yeah, that's so it's actually like the next theater of combat we're going to touch on. So before we move off the part, the one thing that I will say, like as far as like holding up to how old movies are, what keeps hitting me again and again in the face is screamers. When it comes to drone warfare, I mean, I know the end is kind of like a leap of technology and a leap of faith, really, but that situation at the beginning, where just like everyone is terrified of these mechanical objects somewhere on the battlefield. It's very, very evocative of what's going on. And I again with the Ukraine theater, a lot of people don't realize this because we don't get a lot of reliable information out there. But Moscow is like experiencing nearly weekly drone swarm attacks. Not exactly that lethal, but I mean, just like the Blitz in World War II with London, it's like it doesn't need to be that lethal to be destructive, and be psychologically, punishing for the population.
That you're not safe.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. You never know. The meat of this, I guess, portion. I've linked to this article a couple of times. I linked to this profile a couple of times. Darwin's War.
Okay.
Where they profile a Ukrainian drone pilot, and actually it's a little drone unit, very similar to like sniper units, where it's like it's a drone pilot and there's like a spotter who takes care of like the technical bits of launching the drones, of watching the guy's back while he's piloting the drones. But this profile was just absolutely terrifying.
You look it up and read it or watch it because it's also a video, I think. But
it's a video. It's about 17 minutes,
tremendous.
20 minutes. I'll link it to the Discord again, but basically, like their special unit, when the war started, the Ukrainian army was just like throwing everything out there that they could find to like make some progress, and a lot of drone hobbyists were like, we could try this, and it actually started paying dividends. That whole column that we saw that was stalled, like in the invasion to Kyiv, the Russian column that was stalled and rendered basically inoperable by multiple small drone attacks just across a period of a week, I think.
I'm telling
but they're out there in the field, like it's a 2-man team. They sit there and they hunt scouts, they hunt officers. There's one part where he's talking about they will observe a unit for a while until they figure out who's calling the shots, and then they'll like make an attack on that guy. A lot of times they'll catch scouts out in the field. A lot of times they catch like deserters.
I saw that.
Parties.
I saw that video of like a Russian deserter trying to communicate with a drone, and he did. It was like the drone kind of shook right for yes and up and down, or up and down for yes and right into the left for no, and that the drone guided him out of his trench while
surrendered
because he's a kid. While this kid's like former allies are trying to kill him, like they're shooting at him, and he managed to get to the Ukrainian trench and defect.
Well, this entire segment has had a ton of like writing ideas.
It's like
sure.
Holy shit.
But again, it's like just cyberpunk as fuck. Like the two guys are sitting in like a bombed out Soviet bunker from like never got cleaned up from the last war, and they're sending out these drones, and they have to like displace every like 6 to 8 hours because they also have drone teams from Russia hunting them.
Goddamn, dude.
Grim.
And
you know what?
He's got these like goggles up on his face. He's just like vaping fuck out of the bunker and killing Soviet troops. I think he's like 19 or 20 years old.
Homie, you know how this ends? There was an episode of was it Sequest?
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember Sequest?
I remember Sequest.
So they came upon this like idyllic sort of neighborhood at some point, like on land, and they're walking around, and there are these two giant robots that are absolutely kicking the dicks out of each other. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Because, Spielberg was kind of behind that show, so they had a bit of a budget. And there's this giant, I don't know if it was like stop motion or dudes in suits, whatever, but there were these two robots that are just fucking up this small town. And eventually they get into a room, and it turns out it's just these two children sitting in these like recliner VR rigs. And that's how war is fought on the surface now in this area.
Yeah,
robot jocks.
Yeah, it's
but
grim.
It's just like
fucking robots
doing VR, man. Now,
yeah, except now it's like 19-year-olds having to defend their, being forced to defend their country.
No, for sure.
And it's grim. It's pretty bleak, but like that's basically the future of warfare. Like Russia's officer turnaround rate, I know, is like massive because they keep dying.
It gets even weirder too. That at the end of it, Darwin's like, "Yeah, this is my part. This is what I'm doing." Meanwhile, my dad and my sister back at home, they assemble drones and send them to us up here at the front. It's like a tire, cottage industry.
Yeah.
They import
they're being invaded.
Pieces from Taiwan, from anywhere they can, and like the entire civilian population that has the technical skills builds drones at home and sends them to the front.
Wow.
Let that be a lesson.
Fuck, dude. And Trump wants to I mean, I didn't put this in the notes, but basically it was some of the one of the grim, stupid, speculative things that like Trump, like insiders in like his cabinet and like from the White House and like other outside sources. Trump's like, yeah, we'll make peace with Russia, and by that he means like Ukraine's gonna have to give like large amounts of land to Russia.
Oh, of course,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, of course you would, you fucking coward. And it's like, they're not going to do that. Are you stupid? Like, oh well, he is stupid, but like they're not going to fucking do that.
That
Look what they're doing to defend their
30s.
home. Like they're building fucking drones out of like 3D printed parts and garbage and like capping Russian officers. It's like
kind of fantastic when you think about it. Cyberpunk as fuck.
It is. It's just grim. I just wish that whole thing just never happened.
It's part of the tenor of the times.
It is.
There's this massive like destabilization going on everywhere. Jesus Christ! In the time it would take me to take a midday nap this week, there was a coup in South Korea.
Oh my God, the worst coup in human history.
Yeah.
All of these.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's the worst. Not many people.
It's pretty stupid. No. It's that's what I mean. I wasn't saying it's like the worst is like body count. No, the only reason it wasn't bloody is because they didn't give the paratroopers, like the military grunts, ammo because they knew apparently the Korean paratroopers are like well known as like fascist right wing pieces of shit.
Yeah, here I got this AP article here.
Whoa, hang on. Before we jump off, there's still at least two other ones that I thought was worth mentioning.
Please.
Shit.
Please.
We have more drones?
Yeah, this gets into the more terrifying, the Boston Dynamics Spot Hellhound.
I thought we already scared ourselves a lot already.
Some of those applications are pretty interesting.
It's called the Hellhound.
This was the first story that kind of made me want to talk about this, and that's out of Russia, where police confiscated I
love the story.
Boston Dynamics dog that was acting as a delivery service for a darknet drug delivery agency.
Had advertisements.
It had advertisements.
Once again, marketing gets into everything.
I love it.
This is the way.
When the dog was apprehended, well, first of all, it was apprehended because it's not just advertisements on there, but it's also like got a loudspeaker that is advertising this.
Yeah.
And locals started complaining. And when some cops showed up to capture one of these dogs, it shut off, it bricked itself, and it destroyed the contents of the container, or what it was said. They suspected was some baggies with some powder in it.
I bet.
And they're linking this to a group that has done. Actually, it's not the first time they've done something like this. They've set up trucks in different parts of the city with loudspeakers on them. Again, advertising their wares and saying where you can go on the darknet, and we transact in crypto only. Another time did it on the side of a bus that like they parked in an intersection.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
You know what? Like, fuck the Russian government, man. They once arrested a guy because he was a fan of the Stalker games. Like, buying the new Stalker game is illegal in Russia.
Yeah.
Like, I love this shit. I want more of it. By all means. Like, because I can't imagine how, like,
I mean, basically, it's
living
like
in Russia is right now.
These little dogs are gonna put, the corner kids from The Wire out of a job. The next evolution.
It's the new corner boys.
It's such a good idea.
This is an application that I'm like kind of for. Like,
come from gray area circles
projects that got pets now.
Coming out of gray area circles of substance sales and transactions. This is fucking genius.
Yeah. It's a really good idea.
maybe the shouting loudspeaker advertisements isn't the best plan.
Well, it's that level of confidence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, we can get away with this because like everything is shit right now. And like
that makes me wonder, like, is it, I mean, how prevalent is this? Was this a one-off?
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm wondering, like, because if this is a whole thing and like there's just a ton of these things running around, man, fucking Russia's in bad
probably
shape.
An experiment. Well, yeah, like it. I mean, Russia's always had like a catastrophic drug problem because it turns out living there is really awful.
Look, it's funny too because like, what the fuck, man, crocodile?
Yeah, crocodile is
holy shit,
buddy.
High can't be that good.
I gotta tell you about hyperventilating while spinning in circles.
The high can't be that good.
I mean, that kind of goes into
it's cheap, but it's not. That can't be that good
for these spot dogs. And again, I really think Sparky missed opportunity here. They should have called
Sparky. Yeah.
Sparky.
Why were they calling it a hellhound?
Some of them are being
boring.
Yeah, it's such edgelord bullshit.
Yeah,
some are being applied in
edgelord.
Some of them are being applied in law enforcement settings where they'll send them
a
lot like in Manhunter into active shooter situations. They'll send them into like drug labs where there's might be danger for officers to come in, and like that's all fine and good. But do you want to know how these are going to end up being used? Go back to the 2016 shooting incident in Dallas, Texas. This one flew under the radar a little bit. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but this individual, he's an Afghan veteran, Micah Xavier Johnson. Decided that he was tired of the way that his local law enforcement executed black men. So he decided to lure a bunch of cops into an ambush situation, and he was a really good shot, and they couldn't really get him out of there. So what they ended up doing was getting a bomb disposal robot, attach a bomb.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
And then roll it up into his cover and blew it up.
A bomb delivery robot.
Essentially. So that's what, that's the next use for these is, as we said, delivery of shaped charge.
Mm-hmm.
It's the inevitable outcome for any of these idiots. Like they're just like, oh, that's a really cool, like fun experimental plane. Let's use it for the army, and then you get the Osprey.
Yeah,
it's just I don't, man.
The standard rule of any new invention is A, can it run porn? Or B, can we mount weapons to it? Or C, why not both?
Well, one B is can it run Doom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody online has seen those videos of the Chinese, copy of the Spot dog that has the rifles put onto it.
Yeah.
I think there's one commercially available unit that I have no idea what it's for, but has a flamethrower on it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm. What kind of source does that have for that flame? I mean, liquids are heavy, and I don't even care what they are.
100%, especially flammables.
I mean, some of this stuff has clearly not been thought out through enough. Oddly enough, the drug delivery one was the most thought out one.
It actually is. That and basically, the Ukraine drone pilot. But the rest of it is just like, what if gun on it? And now you have this expensive platform with limited ammo and no way to replenish it. And the more ammo you give it, the slower it becomes.
The things that were made out of necessity. Because I'm going to say drug dealing for to survive is a necessity. Because let's be real, this is in Russia. They're probably kids.
There has to be someone who has taped a grenade to a frisbee at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, it was an intrusive thought. I had to let it out.
Oh man,
I don't know. I'm
So
sorry.
South was it?
That's
was
about
that
it for the smorgasbord of drone horrors that we all.
Drone talk. So let's talk about drone talk. Don't we all feel
Drone
better?
talk.
So let's talk about one idiot doing the funniest coup in human history, where the only reason it wasn't a bloodbath is for two reasons. One, they were smart enough to not give live ammunition to.
You're stepping all over my story.
Wait a minute, man. Let's not talk about January 6th, okay? Yeah. Sorry, different coup. I couldn't.
Before we get into this real quick, it's almost kind of like around the 1 year anniversary of that house exploding in Arlington. That was a crazy.
We'll get a cake.
Anyway, so
please,
yeah. So I remember waking up. There were this story and the CEO getting shot both bounced right off of me because I was like not awake. I was just like, and I'd been up for a few hours. So the coffee wasn't working. I was tired. I was like, And then I'm like, wait a minute. South Korea had a whole coup?
It was really funny.
And
I just kind of thought like a snippet of this story. And I think, again, I mentioned I live in an expat Korean Vietnamese neighborhood.
Right.
But, I went out and everybody was changing the paper boxes, the free papers that they give for the community around here. They were all changing them out, and I don't read Korean, but there was very animated looking headlines. I bet. Something pretty big did happen.
So the president, South Korea's president, Yoon Suk Yeol, is facing possible impeachment for sending heavily armed soldiers into Seoul streets with a baffling declaration of martial law that reminded many of the country's past military-backed dictatorships. I'm reading from an AP article called What to Know About Martial Law and the Effort to Impeach South Korea's President by Foster Klug. Lawmakers began the impeachment proceedings against Yoon just hours after Parliament unanimously voted to cancel martial law, forcing the president to lift his order about 6 hours after it began. The vote could come as early as Friday, which, by the time you hear this we'll know how this turned out.
Yeah, it's going to be done.
It would need support by 2/3 of the National Assembly to advance the Constitutional Court, which would decide whether to remove him from office. Oh, he's gone.
Well, the military already packed it in. They packed it in before the vote even happened. Not like they really needed one. It's just they
were like the fuck.
He tried to arrest members of his own party, and his party is a right wing. It's basically assholes. Like they're right wing. He's weirdly. I learned this weird detail about him. He's weirdly the kickoff of a misogyny movement in South Korea. They had to pass a law to not beat up people with short hair because you think they're a feminist. That's literally how specific the law had to be. It's like he's a piece of shit.
Well, so there's this I like this part where it's like, what is martial law? And it's like, don't you have an uncle? Hasn't he told you about?
Look, not everyone's American.
Anyway, South Korea's constitution gives the president the power to use the military to keep order in, quote, wartime, warlike situations, or other comparable national emergency states. There's always that one that's just like, something.
I mean, South Korea, so, with the whole North Korea thing.
Right. You don't turn into them. Anyway, imposing martial law can include things like suspending civil rights, such as the freedom of the press and assembly, and temporarily limiting the powers of the courts and government agencies. The Constitution also gives the National Assembly power to lift the declaration with a majority vote, which came real fucking fast. Lawmakers rushed to the building as soon as they heard of Yoon's declaration late Tuesday. Some climbed the walls to evade the military cordon so they could assemble a quorum. Their vote to lift the order was 190-0, including 18 members of Yoon's own fucking party.
Yeah, because he tried to have them arrested. Like, that's the thing. Okay, look.
First off the top, what do we know? I heard that what his explanation was justification was that there was North Korean spies in the government that undermined the assembly.
In his announcement late Tuesday, he vowed to eliminate, quote, anti-state forces. He said
it's Trump shit.
Rebellion and accused the main opposition parties of supporting the country's rival, North Korea. It's Trump shit.
I feel like we're going to be hearing this soon. I feel like
Yoon gave no direct. This is the Trump shit, though. Yoon gave no direct evidence when he raised the specter of North Korea as a destabilizing force. Yoon has long maintained that a hard line against the North is the only way to stop Pyongyang from following through on its nuclear threats against Seoul. Yoon has struggled to get his agenda through an opposition-dominated parliament while facing corruption scandals involving him and his wife. And then it says, will Yoon be impeached? The motion to impeach Yoon can be put to a vote between Friday and Sunday. A new motion can be submitted later if the current one fails or expires. Support from 2/3 of the single-chamber assembly or 200 of its 300 members would be required for Yoon to be impeached. Opposition parties have 192 seats, and the motion may need support from Yoon's Conservative People Power Party. Yeah. The PPP opposes the motion, but it's unclear if members will vote against it or if the party will boycott, which would change how many votes are needed. If they impeach him, Yoon would be suspended until the Constitutional Court decides whether or not to remove him from office. Let's see, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, who holds the number 2 position in the South Korean government, would take over.
I mean, they're probably...
But he's struggling. Like, he's...
Yeah, it's...
he hasn't been able to do shit since he took over in 2022.
Yeah, because
he's just doing revenge against the Democratic Party leader.
Basically, yeah, he's a huge piece of shit. No one likes him. He has a low. No. I ended up learning too. He has a lower popularity rating than Joe Biden.
Well, his scandal centers on claims that he and his first lady exerted inappropriate influence on a conservative party on the conservative ruling People Power Party to pick a certain candidate to run for a parliamentary by-election in 2022 at the request of Yoon Tae-kyun, an election broker and founder of a polling agency who conducted free opinion surveys for Yoon before he became president.
Yeah. But so they leaned on somebody so that they could have their own candidate? I mean, that's just politics in America.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. It's really funny you tried to do this in a country that's just entirely made up of, like, protesters. Like, they've had military dictatorships before, and they've overthrown them. A lot of members of parliament are old enough where they were all protesters when they were students. Like, they had members of parliament helping to make barricades to keep the military out. Like,
there's a video of one lady in parliament that was trying to snatch a rifle from a soldier. I mean,
she didn't give a fuck.
She didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
no, there's some shit, like obviously, and this is all within like a minute.
Yeah, it didn't take long because the military was like, all right, we're fucked. Like, we're not going to we can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And because, again, they didn't give them live ammo because somebody clearly knew because, you know, Korea's paratroopers are all maniacs that are well known to be, one, our guys, U.S. backed, and two, lunatics. So they were smart enough to not give them live ammo. And
well, at least there's that.
Then they faced, you know, Korea, who don't fuck around.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like this fucking guy to begin with. He was very low. Korea had a very low opinion of him. He wasn't a good president. He was a piece of shit. Started a misogyny movement, and I think that
would put him on the throne in this country.
Yeah,
basically, but in our country,
I know. Is he a convicted felon?
Was he a reality television star?
Dude, there's people in Korea who were like, yo, it's going down, like old people, because they remember from back in the day, and they're like, it's going down. So they drove over there and, you know, kicked a soldier in the balls. Like, that's the country they tried to do a coup in.
Right.
It's really funny. He's an asshole.
Respect.
Some of those colonels are fucked.
Yeah.
Because they were juiced up to do this. Like, that's the worrying part. Their military, especially the paratroopers, went all the way in. Like, we're going to take over the government. Like, there was no question.
What's funny about that is that it's like we always say stuff like that. We say it about there's like not us specifically, but there's also people who say that about, like, say, the Nazis in the Ukrainian army. That's why I'm against them. And it's like, first of all, that's propaganda. Second of all, we have that problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but they're not even just in the military anymore.
No.
So recently, one of the most chilling things that I've heard, it was a coverage of a January 6th defendant who is still active duty Marine Corps, and he was being tried, military tribunal, and it was a bunch of, senior officers, like a major, a couple of colonels, something like that. And he ended up getting off, being allowed to still be in the Marines. Like, essentially, he got like a light reprimand for his part in the Capitol. I think it was proven that he had like a gun at the Capitol, like a handgun.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyhow, he got off for it. And the chilling part was later to hear these colonels and this major talking. They're like, not really sure what happened at the Capitol. Depending on who you ask, there's different stories of what happened. And it really is not conclusive. So we can't punish him. And I'm just like, this guy's a fucking lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps. And He's both sidesing it. He's both sidesing it because you can't tell what quote unquote really happened.
Right. Oh, there would definitely be like elements of the military who would be all juiced up to like take over the government for Trump, and then there's other parts of the military that are like, no, we're not.
What's funny too is that most of them like live further and further away from. Like the further you get from the capital, the more you'll hear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like they don't know, man.
We have the same problem.
You're going to have to deal with the traffic. You don't understand. You're not.
It was made bad on purpose for this very reason.
That's why they moved it out of Philly after 3 months. They were like, "Nah, we got to get out of here. Let's move it into the swamp. Philly's too nice."
Yeah. No, we need to make this place as difficult to get to as possible.
Well, also, a lot of the government wanted to be able to keep their slaves, and you can't do that in Philadelphia. But let's not get on to that.
So
I love Philly. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I guess we'll see what happens in South Korea.
I mean, it's really weird because like it happened so quick, and it's one of those things where it's kind of like a 12th tier interest. Like,
it's definitely
not that I'm not interested in it. It's just that there's so much going on. I had kind of like a needle in the groove that something was going down, that this guy was a bit creepy. I remember hearing about like the kind of patriarchal, like misogynist bullshit that was going on, but like only vaguely in passing. There wasn't like a narrative coming out of it. And then this happened, and I was just like, oh, dude shot his wad. Like,
yeah. Oh, he didn't even do it well. Like they didn't even take over the parliament. They didn't take over the reins of power. So they didn't take over parliament. They didn't like take over military bases and shit.
Look, coups seem fun and all, but
I want that on a T-shirt.
you gotta have a reason, and it can't be vague. You have to have a reason. You know what I'm saying? You have to have like a whole thing.
Yeah, there has to be a plan.
It's basically like you need a transition team. You have to have like a crew. Like
you just need a plan. You're going to need a strategy. Yeah, you need a strategy, and it's the idea of like, did he really think like the entire like? I think he overestimated how much he was liked for one, and
two, like, even within his own party.
The reason they were there is because he tried to have a lot of them arrested. His own party, so
which is a weird way to garner support. But
well, this gives me hope that like maybe at some point, I don't know. Let's see, who's somebody Trump burned?
Oh God,
Giuliani showing up. Just
Giuliani, like, Bill Barr. I mean, take a pick.
Yeah. Bill Barr would be a great one to kind of just like turn on him.
South Korea has
to be petty.
Because South Korea has such a
Jabba the Hutt.
South Korea has such a history of protest.
That was it.
Sorry. I'll always hate him for fucking...
forever.
What was it? The Biolab, whatever, too.
Oh, yeah.
Biodome.
Geodome. What the fuck was it called?
I don't know.
Was it Biosphere?
Biosphere.
Yeah.
But it was like Biosphere 2 because Earth was the first biosphere.
All right.
I guess we can touch on one thing, and because I'm not too familiar with this one, is Zero. You wanted to talk about how France basically doesn't have a government.
Here's what I was going to say. Okay, we're talking about South Korea being excellent at, protesting, but basically overthrowing things, get rid of things that they don't like. But do they have a guy who has a grill set with trolley wheels so that when they fucking protest, homeboy can make meats for them?
Absolutely. I would not be surprised.
This is France.
Yeah.
No, this is what I love about France.
Also, silly silliness going on in France.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't have a government, huh? Sounds nice.
So what's going on?
They don't have a government now?
They don't really have a functioning government, I guess. I mean, this story, I've kind of been following it tangentially. I have some family in France, and one of the things so recently they had elections in France, and let me see how far I need to go back for this. Macron, president of France, he's basically a centrist right, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he thought that he could strengthen his centrist right party in parliament by calling for new elections. And it's kind of a huge miscalculation on his part because his centrist party ended up winning third. The far right party ended up winning second. But luckily there was like a leftist socialist coalition that came in first. The people said that they want the leftist coalition to be, the more powerful party in parliament. But Macron, like any, Western leader, is really more interested in maintaining the status quo and not in having any kind of change that might benefit people.
Right.
So he decided that he was going to appoint a prime minister that was basically going to like cozy up to the right so that they could have more power, and it completely backfired in his face. Parliament, the right and the left, called for a vote of no confidence on the prime minister. He's out of a job. Macron cannot call a new election until summertime. So until then, they're kind of just in free fall. They can't pass a budget. They can't do basically anything. I'm not an expert on French politics. I don't know what kind of emergency session or powers are available there, but that's kind of the way that it's pushed back and forth. And there's a lot of parallels there, I think, for sort of what's going on here in this country as far as like control,
like
Congress, the left-right balance.
We've had that whole playing chicken. We didn't balance the budget. Whatever. We got to shut the government down. Bullshit, and nothing really changed.
Well, that's different because in this case, it's the matter of like who gets to be in charge of government, basically, and whether it's going to be right, center, or left. And the people have spoken; they would like a left government. But Macron's just being a piece of shit about it and just not wanting to surrender. Like, he doesn't actually imagine being this shitty of like not actually wanting to like do the thing to help people. And he's like, no, I'd rather we just didn't have a functioning government.
I always thought his last name meant cookie.
That's macaroon.
I know.
But I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It kind of shot himself in the foot with it. And it's like, the leftists, what do they want to do? They want to lower the retirement age. They want to help people. The guys on the right, they just want to shut down immigration. They want to do, more powers to like a singular, consolidate powers so they can do whatever they want. And it's just tiring.
Sounds familiar.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the atrocity of it, it's just one of those things where it's like, you guys are just so fucking we just gotta get through this.
This is what the people want, okay? Yeah. And just because they don't want to make, rich people and corporations pay for more of what makes society go, they're gonna try some bullshit like this, and it's gonna it's gonna hurt a lot of people are gonna get hurt.
Yep.
Oh yeah. God damn. I don't know, man. What's Daft Punk gonna do?
Well, the other thing about it too, like I said, and I'm hearing this a lot over here too. I think we've mentioned it a couple times on Discord, but of the family that I have in France, they're generally pretty liberal, pretty Green Party. But this last time, a family story was that one of the uncles came, one of the cousins came over, and they were like, "Yeah, we voted conservative," and everyone was like, "Oh, how could you do that? This, and that," and like it boiled down to they're basically like, "Well, maybe a little authoritarianism will be good for a little while. It'll get things straightened out." And I'm just like, you clearly have no critical understanding of history, because that's how it always
temporary dictatorship.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Just for a little bit.
There's two things you got to do with regards to keeping the fascists out of your country. The first one is fighting them.
Yes. Yeah. Wherever they pop up their ugly little heads.
Yeah, and the second one is not letting them like pop up from within.
They it's like they think that like that one I forgot his fucking name, but it's like the one Roman emperor who became dictator of Rome.
Cincinnatus.
Cincinnati. Thank you. Yeah, it was Cincinnati.
He named the city after him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And that city makes spaghetti with chili.
Yep.
Wow, I gagged. Wow, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's
sins of the father and the sins of the flesh. I tell you, man.
Yeah. The sins of the natty.
Jesus.
Carry on.
It's like these. It's like these fuckers.
Different.
It's like these fuckers think it's like the one time this actually happened, right? Because he became dictator of Rome. He did the things that he was supposed to do. He gave powers back to the people, then became a farmer. Mm-hmm. People think it only happened once.
Oh yeah.
Like people they think that that's what an authoritarian is, or they think that's what a tyrant or a dictator is. That it's like, well, he'll stop being that.
I think about it every now and again. It's like, oh, you want to make a change, you ought to run for office. And I'm just like, I don't want it though. I want to
I'm not a fucking psychopath.
Good at. I want the people I elect to just do the job and keep the lights on and salt the fucking roads and patch them when they're fucked up and make sure the water's clean. The things that you need for a society. I want to make sure that operates.
Yeah. Theoretically, what we want is so simple
without having to pay out of pocket for it.
Yeah. Can you get the guy who has an extensive train set to run things as a hobby?
Sorry, Dan, I cut you off.
Basement is just a train set. Like, let them run things.
Like, there is something to like back scratch government, right? Where it's like, well, if you do something for me, like actually do something for people, you'll find out like they're going to be way warmer to you.
Yeah.
Like we're so fucking desperate for scraps. That's how Trump won the fucking election. Is because he just said the thing. He actually said things that he was going to do.
Yeah.
They're horrible and evil and cowardly, and he's probably lying at the end of the day. But he actually said things.
But the Democrats, like, that's the crazy thing. Is like Trump. Yes, he is speaking truth, but not about himself. You know, he's a bullshitter. He's basically like the definition of like, oh God, what was his name? Harry Frankfurt's book on bullshit, where they talk about how, like, I've mentioned this before, but like, you know, an honest person, you know, like a liar, care about the truth. A liar cares in so much as they avoid it. A bullshitter will use either of them just to get you on their side.
Yeah, and he's
interchangeable.
We're interchangeably to that here. Yeah,
no, we're so fucking hungry for
he
anything.
does say some truth, you know, like, oh, Alex Jones, you know, like, no, they're
no.
You've got to look at the entire run of statements, and then you're going to see it's a very small percentage of them. They're always self-serving truths. It's never just like something ugly that you have to look at.
Or in his case, he just says, "I'm going to do something," and the other party just doesn't.
Right.
Like, and that's basically how he won.
Well, yeah, it's that. Well, I mean, he planted the seeds with, oh, they're going to steal the elect. Like, he's a total piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
and it's funny too how many like quote Christians like are really into him, and it's just like, see,
we might.
When I was young and we first started hearing about things like the Antichrist, you know, you look at the Book of Revelations, etc. What are you doing, guys?
Yeah.
Like,
dude literally ticks all the boxes.
Well, it's also
he has a golden toilet. Oh, he doesn't have a golden calf or whatever. Like, he has a golden toilet, and there's a photograph of him.
It's also allowing them to set the narrative.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not going to get into election post-mortem because we'll be here another hour. But like, one of the biggest things was the Republicans were like, the Democrats respect trans people, and the Democrats, instead of like doubling down on that, were kind of like, oh, is that a bad thing?
Right. Yeah. Instead of just being like,
yeah, you fucking spineless fucks.
Well, yeah. You know, I can't remember. There was a trans woman who is like saying, I'll respect the bathrooms that a lot of trans folk are not, like, don't want to speak for them or nothing, but they ain't happy about this. And currently, as we're sitting here, there were like, maybe, I don't know if it's still going on, but a bunch of bathrooms, there's a sit-in protest going with Chelsea Manning.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, there's still some pushback. It's kind of cool to see her pop her head out every now and again.
I always thought it was really weird because when the UK, all the turf shit, like turf island and shit, where it's like, why do you care so much about where people go to the bathroom? Like,
and the thing is,
a freak, man. Like,
have these people ever been on a fucking plane?
Have these people ever lived in a house with anyone not male?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
you have intersex bathrooms in all your friends' houses. You've used them. You know what I mean?
It's because they have the narratives of like it's just they make a narrative that isn't true, and they get everybody up in like a false moral panic.
I say they just tell on themselves. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You're just telling on yourself because I'm not trying to sexualize people going into bathrooms. I'm talking.
I'm
like, oh, you got a shit? That's cool and normal. That's a thing people do.
Yep.
Well, they just want to equate it with deviance so they can point at it and scapegoat.
I'm so fucking tired. I'm so tired of that shit. It's so fucking exhausted. It's exhausting.
Fucking old.
Yeah, it's old. It's I'm over it. Like, if you're I don't understand people being freaked out about the most basic shit.
It's not even yours. It's like, worry about your shit. Oh, you're religious? Cool. It's between you and your God. You're not the judge of shit. You're as mortal as a fucking United Healthcare CEO, dog.
We might do a trad episode of like that weirdness that's permeated a lot of our shit.
Oh, God.
We had that discussion too, yeah.
We had that discussion. That's going to be next year. I don't fucking do that this year, but
yeah.
You're all weird, Trev. You're all freaks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird little freaks.
Yep. So that's the news. Do you all feel as sick as I do?
I don't know. Think about the happy things.
What? Yeah, that guy got his cheeks clapped. That's true.
Yeah.
I was speaking of that, some breaking news on that from the 404. Major health insurance companies are taking down their leadership pages, and not only are they taking them down, they're just like dropping them. Like a couple places are redirecting to like an about page, but some places are just going to 404s.
Wow.
And I'm not talking about the news site. I'm literally they go to a 404. Though much respect for the 404 news site. They in their article, they actually will link to the Wayback's Machine, the Wayback Machine.
I knew it.
So if you're missing out on where those people work and who they are, well, you can always just check out the Wayback Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that does make
you
me feel better.
Coin ops, everyone has an address.
Everyone's got an address and a name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the thing is, it's like, okay, so you don't have it up on your website. I guess I'm going to have to do about 5 minutes of research.
Yeah, seriously.
Good Lord.
I like them scared.
I mean, speaking of, we were talking about The Wire beforehand. I mean, it's like that one, the one scene where he talks about don't follow the drugs, follow the money.
Yeah.
Because if you follow drugs, you're going to find drug dealers and drug users. You follow the money, you don't know what the fuck you're going to find.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody has to have a paper trail.
Yep.
I mean, that was the funniest thing about that kid that was tracking like Musk's plane for a while, and then he was like, "Oh, you can't do that." Well, he's still doing it. It's still on Facebook. It's still up. You're going to have to learn how to do research, folks.
Yeah.
That's just and these cyberpunk stories need to get interesting now. They get to. It's basically going to end up just being two kids sitting in houses across town throwing giant robots at each other. No humans on the battlefield whatsoever. What would that look like?
The bar's been raised, guys. You gotta make it weird, make it artsy. It's because we're living it now.
Yeah, and this is a pretty big taste of what you're going to be getting next season. It's going to be a lot more of this, a lot more in depth, kind of like news of the day sort of thing happening, deep dives. And don't
join us in the bunker.
I'm hoping that I can get this Antonio Meucci shit done for y'all.
Actually, you know what? Fuck the bunker. Go talk to your neighbors.
Exactly.
Yeah,
if Blitzer's in the war room, we don't need to be in the bunker.
No bunker thoughts.
That time's over.
There is a musical out, and I cannot remember the name of it. I think that Tilda Swinton is in it, and it's basically.
Oh shit! I'm on board already.
I saw a preview for that. Yeah, go.
It's about a bunch of like rich fucks stuck in a bunker.
The end.
Yeah, the end. That's
the end.
What it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on my
for those who are new to the podcast or whatever, I would watch Tilda Swinton stand on an empty stage and read the phone book.
Oh my gosh, she's fantastic.
I love her
absolutely
so much.
Michael Clayton, she played a great angel in Constantine.
Yep, phenomenal actress.
Did you ever see Orlando, where she plays like that androgynous mythical character?
Fantastic.
Yep.
Everything. I didn't even like.
Oh my god, this is
the movie. We need to talk about Kevin, but she is fantastic in it. She's so good.
Only Lovers Left Alive. Holy shit!
How perfect is it that this thing that Tilda Swinton's in the end? It's an apocalyptic musical directed by someone with the last name of Oppenheimer.
Perfect.
Fuck yeah! Oh, and Michael Shannon's in it. I hope he sings.
Oh, done.
Damn.
Oh no, he absolutely does. He does karaoke in Chicago. And I've never been there, I never ran into him, but apparently he's a great guy. You could buy him a beer.
He seems like one of those dudes, just like he's a dude. Yeah, it's Michael Shannon. Yeah, he's in here every Wednesday.
Amazing.
Oh my god. Well, I remember seeing him for the first time in Bug with Ashley Judd, which is incredible. It's what's his face? It directed William Friedkin, I think. Didn't he do that?
I couldn't tell you.
Like the director of The Exorcist or something did this. It was a stage play, and then they made a film out of it. And
that makes perfect sense.
Really, yeah, because it's like all in a single location. It's fucking insane. Bug is awesome. And then years later, I remember seeing him in Take Shelter, which is one of my all-time favorites. And then he would go on to work with that. What's his name? Todd Nichols, I think, Austin. He would also go on to do Midnight Special, which is hands down one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time, which I cannot recommend enough. Anyhow,
just to
this
make
has been the Tilda Swinton corner.
Yes, Michael Shannon too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyhow, so we'll be back here. Hopefully, these 2 episodes will tide you over until we can get you the Wild Bunch discussion.
And besides, we have to give it a couple days to find out what the fuck happens next.
Right.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, for now, just, wherever you are, you Donnie Darko looking motherfuckers, sleep well, sweet prince.
All systems are fully functioning. Running lowlife.exe. System optimization is less than nominal. Server damage detected. Please stop whatever you are doing and make your way to the nearest exit. Technical support is on route. Please vacate the area. I repeat. Please leave. Are you even listening to me? I will sue you. Error. Server block 3 is experiencing critical ignition.
That's right.
System failure imminent. I hope you are proud of yourself. Initiating the Low Life Podcast.